Today's podcast is presented by Podgo. Podgo is the easiest way to monetize your podcast, providing podcasters with a flat rate for ad space so you always know how much you get when you include an ad from Podgo. Apply today to become a member and immediately be connected with advertisers that fit your audience. That's podgo.co at podgo.co. And be sure to add Concerts That Made Us in the How Did You Hear About Podgo section.
Is everybody in? Is everybody in? The show is about to begin.
Hey, concert lovers. Welcome to another episode of Concerts That Made Us. I'm your host Brian, and I'm back with another band this week. It's a really fun episode. My guest this week is the punk band Fears of Abandonment. They were formed in 2015 by brothers Ellis and Aidan Holland, and they are the oldest group in their local music collective known as the Chow Mein Triad. The band started off playing pop-punk covers at their high school in Pasadena, but quickly evolved into writing their own material. In 2017, the duo was joined by bassist James Fall, and they began branching out to larger and larger local venues. Mixing dark and woeful lyrics with upbeat pop hooks and melodies, Fears of Abandonment is sure to bring out the inner emo kid in anyone willing to give them a listen. Now, before I chat with the guys, we're going to take a listen to their song Perfect on Paper. So, without further ado, let's get on with the show. Hey guys, you're very welcome to the show tonight.
Hey, it's great to be here.
Yeah.
I'm glad to have you. So, we just heard one of your songs there. Would you like to tell us a bit about it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ellis wrote that one. Do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, I can go. It kind of came together like pretty quickly. And I mean, really just kind of came because as I was starting to I had by this point, by the time I started writing this song, we had already had a good chunk of the album written. And I was really just starting to like sequence it in order. And with the order I had, I felt like it just needed like a quick burst of energy. And so I went and just like started strumming away on some power chords and came up with it. I thought that like it could have this cool like big drum fill that Aidan did, which I think added immensely to it. And also James's bass parts, I think made it a lot more interesting because it was just like kind of boring power chords on my end.
So once you all had a bit of input, it came together beautifully.
Yeah.
I think that was another one we would play live a lot. But I didn't know the lyrics, and I don't think James knew the lyrics until I listened to the album.
Right, right. So how did you come together as a band? Who had the idea first, and when did you get together?
Well, it started as like mostly me and Aidan. We were in high school at the time, and I don't know, like we're brothers, and like we'd only recently started playing together.
Right.
So that was a lot of fun, and we recorded our first records actually, and it was coming out, and me and James were doing high school theater together. And like the day after it came out, the day after it came out, I go in to a rehearsal, and James is like, "Oh, I heard the album, man. It was pretty cool. You know, if you ever want anyone to like play another guitar or bass or something, like let me know." And we did, and it was one of the best decisions we could have ever made.
Cool, cool. The next question then, your musical influences.
A wide range of influences. When we started out, we were playing a lot of Blink-182 and Green Day covers.
Hmm.
So that was certainly the basis for a lot of our sound, but also the band Alkaline Trio. Ellis and I are big fans of that, and that, you know, maybe not something we played as covers so much, but something we listened to a lot while working on songs. So
Yeah.
that's
I'm gonna let James go next because I feel like I've been doing a lot of talking.
Yeah, no worries. Sure. Well, yeah, I think I have a pretty diverse range of influences. I kind of came up as a rock, like guitar and bass player, and then, but I also have a pretty extensive like jazz training, and I think that's where I come from when I'm constructing the parts, and then kind of put them into the the more rock punk context, and I think it has an interesting element to it. I tend to think more as in this band. I think of the bass more as like a harmony instrument.
Hmm.
Because I feel like in a lot of other similar bands that's something that sets us apart.
Yeah, yeah, it does come across. You can really hear it, and it's very interesting that you said you come from a jazz background, and you're not just, coming straight in from a rock or punk background. It's it makes for more diversity.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the same stuff as Aiden, like Blink-182, Green Day, Foo Fighters, like a lot of 90s and early 2000s pop punk. And then also just like, I mean, I listen to my fair share of pop too. Like, I'm a big fan of Taylor Swift
Really?
and like Avril Lavigne and that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah, so I guess I kind of like pop songs, but like hardcore pop songs, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, well, not exactly, because like, singer songwriting stuff I feel like tends to be more like really kind of lyric focused, and pop is like really kind of like production centric. So I don't know, I kind of like maybe akin my favorite kind of style to something like the Killers, which
Right.
it's like definitely like kind of poppy, but also has a little bit more of like some like guitar influence.
Cool, cool. I definitely agree. I wouldn't be the biggest fan of Taylor Swift now. She's I think she's over here anyway. She's like one everybody loves to hate. She's kind of like the Nickelback of the pop world.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
That's
But
funny.
then I think secretly a lot of people do actually listen to her. She does have a couple of good songs. I'll give her that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I kind of started on that end, like, starting like, I don't know, like it's kind of pop and like super popular, but I just kind of like gave into it at some point. But like, you know
Yeah.
what? I'm done trying to be like fucking cool and like hating on the thing that everyone likes. Like I actually like it.
Yeah, yeah. So, what would be your earliest musical memories?
I guess like playing the recorder in the as like an 8-year-old in school.
Right.
I remember being like pretty good at that.
Oh.
No, stop. Shouldn't have stopped.
So
Um,
that'd be the first instrument you've ever learned to play.
yeah, that was the first thing I ever learned to play. But the first thing that I was ever like passionate about was I started learning guitar in like around when I was 12.
Oh,
And
okay.
so that's like where it all kind of started for me,
Yeah,
even though there were earlier musical memories.
yeah, yeah, I gotcha. It's over here as well. We when we're in, I think it's third or fourth class, so we're like 7 or 8. We're almost forced to pick a musical instrument, but it
Yeah.
can't be anything cool like guitar. It has to be like a flute or a tin whistle or something like that. And it kind of the majority of people, I think, it turns them against playing music. But
Yeah,
like that,
unfortunately.
then when we hit our teen years, everyone kind of picks up a guitar and tries to be Kurt Cobain or, you know. So who wants to take the question next?
I think my earliest musical memory, at least in terms of playing music, was I was pretty young. I don't remember exactly how old I was, but Ellis was doing guitar lessons at this music store. And I was still young enough that I had to like go wherever my parents took me.
Right.
And so I was sitting out there with my dad because he would also take guitar lessons at the same place. And they had like a little tiny drum kit for little kids. And I sat down and I think I had 2 pencils and I started playing on the drum kit with the pencil. Like every going to the guitar lessons, I'd play on that drum kit. And eventually they got me drum lessons and then a kit. And that's
Oh,
probably connected.
cool. Did you ever have any desire to pick up the guitar, or was it always the drums you were focused on?
As a kid, I was always focused on drums. More recently, I've thought, well, I can't really play an instrument that has melodies or anything. I can do a
Mm,
little bit of, in high school, I had to learn some mallet stuff, so I can do a little bit of that in piano. But so it'd be cool to be able to write songs or play something that someone knew, because on drums, there's maybe 3 or 4 beats you can play and people would recognize.
yeah, yeah, I gotcha. I gotcha.
But drums are cool, man. I like playing them.
They are, they are. I kind of dabbled with them myself when I was about 16, 17. My parents hated it. I'll hold my hand up. I was no good. I literally just used to beat any random drum. I don't think I could even play one song, but in my mind, I was Dave Grohl or Lars from Metallica, you know, but I was nowhere close.
Feel awesome though.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And Ellis?
Yeah, I guess like my first memory of playing music was I started taking guitar lessons when I was pretty young. I was probably about 7. And I don't know, that started pretty much just because a few years earlier my dad started taking guitar lessons and I thought it seemed cool and like seemed like something fun that we could do together.
Hmm.
So I basically just asked my parents if I could do it too. And yeah.
Cool,
Here
cool.
we are now.
I didn't know
Cool.
that.
Um, it's a bit, your dad must have been not old, but you know, for to be taking guitar lessons, it must have been later in life from the start.
Yeah, he'd taken piano lessons like when he was a kid, and he was in like a couple band or a band in high school where he sang. But when I know that like when he was a kid, he didn't like doing it that much.
Hmm.
I think actually the guitar lessons were like a gift, like a Christmas present from like my mom or something.
Oh,
So
I
yeah, it's
see.
definitely like a later in life thing, but it was pretty fun to get to do together, and pretty fun now that he's like proficient at it and we can play together. Stuff.
Would you ever consider having him in the band?
We've
Yes.
actually
Yes.
yeah. We've actually over quarantine have been making like just a bunch of recordings with him just for fun.
I like that James was the first one to respond enthusiastically to
Oh,
that.
I love
Yeah, I
Steve.
noticed that.
Yeah, he's cool.
Yeah, dude, get your dad too. Get Randy in.
Yeah, Randy played trombone in high school. Maybe you can pick it back up.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh.
man. Have a horn. Do a horn duo. Get Randy and Nathan. Have a
My
little horn
dad's
section going.
favorite part of playing trombone in high school was like um being like having to be like close to everybody in the stands when they were playing a football game, and he would like hit people in the back of the head with the sled.
Oh. Yeah, it's probably the most enjoyable part of playing it, I'd say.
Yeah.
Using it as a weapon.
Yeah.
So at this
Powerful.
point, I'd usually start asking my guests about concerts they've attended, but I think my listeners would actually prefer to hear concerts you've played, since it's the first time I've had a full band on the show at the same time. So the first gig you've ever played, would you like to tell us about it?
Yeah. There's kind of two that I would consider our first. There was one that Ellis and I did just at our high school, which was, I don't remember going very well.
No, I remember going over really
Oh,
well.
do you?
Like it was just guitar and drums, but like we pulled out some hits. We did like Wonderwall, and everyone went wild.
That was we were working on the first album at that point, and one of the songs on that album starts "Somebody shoot me, put a bullet in my head," and Ellis is and it starts, just with guitar, with acoustic guitar, and then he goes, "Somebody shoot me," and the audience goes, "Whoa!"
Yeah, I remember
Yeah,
that.
but
I wasn't even gonna play that song actually for like kind of that reason, but one of my best friends in high school was like kind of edged me on about it. I was gonna do like a cover of different songs, like, no, dude, like I really like that song. You should play that one.
I
And
remember you decided to do it so close to the show that I didn't play it with you. I didn't practice this one. I don't
yeah,
want to do it.
I mean, I think it was gonna just be, I think it worked fine as like just an acoustic bit
Yeah.
anyway. But yeah, I think I'd made the change like 5 minutes before we went on or something.
But I don't know if James wants to speak to.
It's an interesting song to sing at a school. Was there much feedback from teachers?
I think we're a little too loud, and all the teachers walked away pretty quick.
Yeah. The other thing I remember, I was actually, someone took a video of it and I was rewatching the other day. We did I think we opened with All My Life, I want to say, the Foo Fighters song.
Oh, I love that
And
song.
It's a great song.
it's a lot of
Butchered it.
fun. Yeah, I just like remember my voice. It was like making me cringe because of like how hard I was like trying to scream and stuff. And like it's a miracle we played any songs after that.
Yeah. Well, Foo Fighters, they have a lot of guitars.
They got a lot of guitars, but also Dave Grohl's voice, man. Like
Yeah.
he can scream, and I cannot.
And, if James wants to speak to our first show at a thrift shop.
Ooh, that was fun. That was the first show from when I joined the band. In I think April 2017.
Sounds right.
We played at this place called Meow Meows in Pasadena. Shout out Meow Meows. It's an 80s themed, like, I guess kind of a little eccentric thrift shop in Pasadena, and it's great. It's a very small venue, but it's a lot of fun because you can get like 30 people in there and it feels like a packed room. And they have all these lights, and we bring all our gear and like play for our friends, and that was a lot of fun.
Oh, cool. How did that gig come about?
Oh, well, we had just played at the like variety show at our high school.
Yeah.
And some of our friends had also like formed a band just to do that,
Mm.
just to do the talent show. And I think, Ellis, did you ask Seb if
Yeah, I think our friend Sebastian, who was in that in the other band, is like the talent show thing, was telling me about it. I think that's how it came about. He was telling me about Meow Meows, and I like followed them on Facebook and hit them up and got a thing going. The interesting thing though about playing that place is they book it in like I think it's 4-hour blocks. And like,
Right.
so it's like they kind of give it to like the person that's booking it, and then you're kind of tasked with, creating a show around that. Like no one's gonna play for 4 hours, so you have to find like a bunch of other bands to play. And that's kind of how our other friends group, I think, got started. Was they did like kind of their band just as like the talent show thing.
Hmm.
And I was kind of scrambling to find like an opening band show, and I was like, hey, like if you guys could open for us at this thrift shop gig, that would be great.
Is it a usual thing to play at a thrift shop?
No.
I was thinking. We don't really have thrift shops over here. We have charity shops, I suppose, that'd be similar enough, but they're always like tiny little box rooms. I'd say 9 foot by 9 foot.
I
Yeah.
think that's about what it was.
I mean,
Maybe a little bit.
no, it's probably like a little bigger, but yeah, this, like James said, it's not a very big venue. Like you can fit like 25, 30 people in, and there would be like some people standing outside the door.
The
Yeah.
great thing about this place is you can get a small crowd and know for a fact that it's gonna turn into a mosh pit.
Sounds good.
Yeah, it was great. I think also like one of the other things that happened was 3 days before we had booked an opening band that dropped out.
Oh man.
And so we had to kind of scramble. I don't think we ended up finding anyone. I think we ended up
No, I
just
think it was
extending our
just
set.
us and 2-hour shower. So yeah, we just extended our set.
And how long did G actually end up playing for?
It felt like a long time. I want to say it was around 2 hours.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, it was a really long set. It was like 15 to like 17 songs set, I think.
What's amazing about that to me is that people stuck around the whole time.
Yeah, that's true in hindsight. It was really exciting though, like the
was.
first time, because it was our first gig, and it felt good to like be playing for like that long, because it made it feel like a real gig or something, and not like
Yeah.
you just like opening for someone doing like 15 minutes.
Yeah, I get you.
Before. So yeah, like it felt really cool at the time, but you're right, in the hindsight, it is impressive
Yeah.
and like nice of our friends to stick around for that long.
Well,
Especially we're
if
like
they
a lot.
stuck around, I'm sure you were doing something right.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, it was mostly covers at that time, so at the very least, people could hear stuff that they know or liked.
Yeah, I get you. So, the last concert you've played.
Yeah. I think I don't know if you guys know this offhand, but it is longer ago than I wish it was.
Yeah, because I feel like it would be like 2 summers
Yeah, it'll be
ago.
the summer of 2019.
Was that the house show, or
That
it
was
wasn't
the house show where the cops got called at the end of the night.
Oh, yeah. That
Yeah.
Wait, that was
We've done stuff with other bands since then, but like as Fears, that was the last show. Because after that, I went off to college and Ellis went off to college, and then COVID hit, so we never really got back together to play another show before.
wait, was that that was the show where I brought like the vodka, right?
Yes, that's the show where you had the high full of vodka. And also, I don't know if you remember this. At some point, someone yelled at Ellis to take his shirt off. So he
I
took
do
his
remember
shirt
that.
off and kept off the entire night.
Yeah, like not just through the end of the show. Like there were other bands playing after us,
Yeah.
and I kept it off the whole night.
Right.
person that kept harassing you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, like it's kind of funny because I guess I'll just describe myself since this is a podcast, but like I'm not like I'm not out of shape, but I'm not like the most in shape person. Like I don't have like a six pack or anything. There's not really much to look at when I take the shirt off. But you know, people were asking, so
For us. And
Yeah.
you know what? I think in spite of all that, that was one of our better shows.
I don't know if that was necessarily like sonically one of our better shows. I had a lot of fun at it, like personally, but I'm not sure if it necessarily sounded great because that was also like one of the only times I think I had a couple of drinks before and during the show.
Yeah,
And
never a good idea. Kids.
yeah, I'm not.
Drink after you play.
Yeah.
Yeah, keep the partying until afterwards, then go wild.
I remember during that show, I was playing guitar on one song with one of the other bands, and I was like jumping around and everything, and I accidentally stepped on the power strip, and everything shut off in the middle of the song.
Oh man.
I think the singer like pushed me because it's like a punk band. That's a thing.
Mm.
I just like knocked into it and complete silence.
Are you sure now, since it was one of the other bands, you weren't trying to sabotage their gig?
I think so. Oh, I'll stop talking now then.
Was that also the show, James, where you were drumming for 2 Hour Shower and you had me do the hi-hat at one point?
Yeah, we both played the same kit. It was fun.
That was a good time.
Yeah, that was a show where it was like the end of the summer and it was just in someone's garage and like it was just a lot of fun, you know, just one of those like end of summer vibes. You're with your friends, hanging out, playing music.
Yeah.
Like probably not the flashiest or like best show, but
It was like
it was definitely one of the most fun ones, I'd say.
yeah.
Sounds like it was a great one anyway. A great last gig you played.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I only wish it was not as long ago
Yeah.
as it is.
Yeah, it's a really tough time for live music at the moment. Do you have
Yeah.
any live music at all over there?
Not really in the city, not where we live, at least. I mean, there's some bands trying to make it work doing concerts over Zoom and
Yeah.
stuff. But as far as like actual live, like people on stage, people in a room, not really anything that's not like televised or recorded.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the same over here. They are there's whispers of them trying to get concerts back, and one idea they're floating around is having everybody in a bubble. I don't know how that's going to work.
Like a hamster ball.
Yeah, basically. The mosh pit might be a bit fun, all right, but other than that, the atmosphere will be crap.
I thought you meant like a COVID bubble where like everyone has to stay together for like 2 weeks. Just have it be like a 2-week like quarantine, like Coachella party type thing.
Yeah, when you think of it like that, it actually wouldn't be too bad. Everyone just take over a hotel and lock down for the 2 weeks,
Yeah,
including the
it's like
band.
test everyone before they leave. It could in some ways be like way more fun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like if everyone's just stuck together.
yeah, definitely. So this brings us to the worst concert you've ever played, if there is one, or the worst experience you ever had at a concert you played.
It's, I think in hindsight, a lot of the early concerts we played were probably pretty bad, but we felt good about them. In terms of shows that we felt bad about,
I mean, there's nothing like too bad. I remember the only time not feeling great was like at the start we were doing like these pay to play shows, and there's one time when we didn't like recoup the money that we spent on it, where we lost
tickets.
We lost quite a bit. And I mean, I think the show went pretty good, but like just like have that afterwards be like, oh, we lost like $100 or $150.
Yeah,
it didn't feel it didn't feel great.
I can imagine. Any aside from sound or sound quality or anything like that, any bad experiences crowd wise or anything like that?
Um, we we went on a little like Bay Area tour last summer 2019,
Hmm.
and all those shows went pretty well, but in between the shows we were sleeping on a boat in Oakland somewhere. And I I don't know, I was I
Yeah,
got in
James,
a
we're
hotel
sleeping
room.
on a boat.
Yeah, you were in like a fancy hotel.
The people were sleeping on a boat. Um, do you guys want to talk about what that was like?
Yeah, I mean, we didn't end up spending a night on the boat because I was feeling sick like the first day we got there, so we slept in our car instead.
Though I actually feel like those shows we played, like that first show where that night we had driven up the day before, then slept in the car that night, went pretty well. All things considered.
Yeah,
At
all the shows I thought went really well. Like, not
Yeah.
yeah, and like even the boat thing, like, all that happened was like a park ranger came at us in the morning and like yelled at us.
Yeah, in a car.
But like honestly, like sleeping in the car was like pretty comfortable. Like I was feeling kind of shitty that night when we just made the decision to like move all the stuff to the front and sleep in the car. But I woke up feeling like pretty good the next day. So
Yeah.
if we didn't get yelled at, like it would have been totally fine just like sleeping in there. Although I wouldn't have had a shower probably.
Yeah. I'll take a shower. I will say, actually, like the one concert I can think of, and maybe not even for the entire show, but early on, we played at this place called Amplify, which doesn't exist anymore. It got shut down because it was essentially a basement with a rickety wooden staircase as the only exit.
It was a cool venue though.
It was a cool
It's a
venue,
bummer that it got.
but
Huge fire hazard.
huge
Yeah.
fire.
Sounds safe, all right, yeah.
But I think that's where we learned like the importance of energizing the crowd, because I think we played a lot of our slower songs and people got bored. James's sister got really bored. I mean, yeah, it seemed like they were into most of the show.
Yeah, well, that was also before, like, our first album is actually like a lot more mellow than the one we just released, and this was probably before we wrote most of the songs for that. Like, we probably just had Burning Away maybe, and so yeah, our shows were a lot more mellow, and also as far as I feel like the problem there was probably as far as designing a set list goes, I usually like to pull like the hits, but like also like more kind of obscure stuff just because it's fun, because I don't get to hear it as much and I'm sure the audience doesn't. But that might have been like a little too heavy of like slow stuff and just songs that people weren't really that into. So I think I've definitely gotten better at like crafting set lists since then.
Yeah, it's kind of a learning process as you go along as well, I can imagine.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I feel like you want to switch it up enough like each time to like keep it fun for you, but there's some stuff you got to stay for the audience, and it's just finding like that right balance between like you're having fun and making sure the crowd's having fun.
Yeah,
can be
Definitely.
like you said, a bit of a learning process.
Yeah,
there was one gig I remember we did at a bowling alley in like the bar in the back of the bowling alley, and not during our set, but during 2 Hour Showers set, which is the band we play with a lot. Like I was playing drums with them, and I remember like 3 really big, like burly biker guys walked in and came right up to the front of the stage where like there wasn't anybody. Like there were like people sitting in the chairs. These guys just like came walking right up to the front, and they're just sitting watching like this with their arms crossed. And I didn't know what to think really. I was like, I was drumming, and I was like, oh shit, what happens if they disapprove? And like after we just kept playing, and after 10 seconds or so, they start like headbanging a little bit, and they're into it. Like, oh, thank goodness, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I could imagine the relief when they
They like,
started to
yeah,
approve.
biker band. Miss those guys. Hope they're doing well.
So we'll move on to the best concert experience you've had.
I
Mm.
think that's going to be a different concert for all three of us.
This should be interesting. So
I mean, I'd say either of the whiskey shows.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say maybe the first whiskey show. I think maybe was a little stronger because that's the time we did Toxic, right?
Oh, is it? That was fun. We like to play a cover of Toxic by Britney Spears.
really,
Like, rock.
Yeah, but we like punked it up.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
It's a lot of fun.
that sounds actually really good.
It's so cool.
Those riffs like really lend themselves to punk guitar.
Yeah, it's like electric guitar, like
Is there any recordings or footage out there that if anyone wanted to look up and see you playing it?
we have videos of it. I feel like we might have tried to post it, but the problem is like it's really frustrating actually because anytime you try to like post a video of you doing a cover, it usually gets striked
Yeah.
for copyright reasons. So I don't know. It may be out there, but it might just I have a feeling it's probably just our personal like camera roll is the only video footage.
Yeah.
have.
Yeah.
We can send it to you though. That would be sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, but we were playing at like the Whiskey A Go Go, which is one of like,
Oh man, are you serious?
really cool venues in Los Angeles.
That's like legendary, even over here.
Yeah.
That's
Amazing.
if I was in a band and I played there, I'd be like, right, I'm quitting. Nothing can top that.
Yeah, so we've been there twice now, and that was really, really cool. That's where we played Toxic. And I remember the band that we were opening for, like, I don't know, it's just an interesting thing to find out, but I remember seeing that their lead singer, like, this is 2 or 3 years after we played that show. I remember just seeing online somewhere that she had become the bassist in Dragon Force.
Jeez.
The current bassist in Dragon Force is like the singer in a band called Vigil of War, and that's who we opened up for the first time we played the Whiskey, I think. One of the times.
I think the second time.
Yeah. It's hard to remember. They blurred together a little bit.
Small world.
They were,
Yeah.
they were only like 6 months apart too.
Yeah.
So
She was really nice though. She introduced herself to all the openers, which you don't generally have to do.
yeah, that doesn't always happen.
Jeez. How did that come about? Getting to play in the Whiskey twice?
Oh, that's the coolest part. They messaged us the first time.
Yeah.
Really?
We just got like a message on Facebook from our band, like on our band account, and they're like, "Hey, if you guys ever want to play the Whiskey, just like, let us know."
If you
So, yeah, that was the coolest part about it. That like they found us and like reached out, and I
yeah.
feel like also like the other thing that was cool is that's the first place we've ever played that had like dressing rooms. So it felt like there was like a different like band experience. It wasn't just like when you're done, like you just like move your stuff off stage and then you're in like the audience with everyone else. There was like a separate.
There was a backstage. Well, that's like you got to be cool and get my girlfriend backstage and be like, "Hey, I'm worth it."
Yeah, that concert was a lot of fun. Like it sounded good. I thought we were pretty tight, and it was also just like really fun because it made us feel like a legit band.
Yeah. Jeez. It's pretty historic. What's it actually like inside for any of the listeners that don't live in America or in LA?
It's really cool. It's a little small, but it's a really nice atmosphere. There's a bar on the second floor. There's a staircase just for the musicians because the green rooms are on like the second floor.
Yeah.
And the green rooms are really cool. There's a big poster in there that like all the bands that have played there have signed on the poster.
Oh man.
I think I spent like 20 minutes just looking at the poster, seeing all the cool names that I recognized.
Yeah. Was Jim Morrison and guys like that on it?
Eddie Van Halen and Green Day, and it's amazing place, man.
I'm surprised nobody has tried to steal that that poster.
I'm sure they've had to like replace it a couple times because it's been around so long.
Yeah, yeah.
I will say though about those green rooms, they smelled like the walls were caked in decades worth of weed smoke. It was 100%.
There's also a bunch of like mysterious stains everywhere.
Yep.
Lovely.
But like if you do think about it, like it's kind of cool, man. Like
I mean, yeah, that could be Eddie Van Halen stain.
yeah, man, there could be. Like
That's a pretty
Yeah.
cool claim to fame. I'm standing in Eddie Van Halen's piss stain.
Yeah.
You should have brought a Stanley knife with you, tried to cut out the patch and try to sell it on eBay.
I mean, but that's the thing though, is like you don't with those things, like you don't really know. Like it could have been Eddie Van Halen, it could have been like someone in like a small band our size too. It really kind of lets you run wild with your imagination
Yeah.
as to what it could be and where it could have came from.
Yeah, but you can, no matter who it came from, you can steal it and claim it's Eddie Van Halen's piss.
Yeah.
That's true. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
technically speaking, can't you do that with any piss stain?
That's true, yeah. I mean, it's not going to be the carpet isn't going to be signed or anything by Eddie Van Halen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
That's marked.
So any other best concert experiences? So
Hmm.
that's got to be hard to top now. The whiskey.
Yeah, I mean my second favorite personally was probably the last one we did, the house show, just because it was really low key and fun.
I actually felt like pretty good at that show. I don't know. I don't think you guys agree, but I like was relaxed and
You might have sounded good at that show.
Well, we're having a really good time.
yeah.
Yeah, but we were all having a good time. So
Is this the one you mentioned earlier that got shut down by the cops? What happened there?
well, it didn't really get shut down because they kind of
We had stopped. I think the last band had stopped playing. by the time
Yeah.
the cops showed up.
they kind of showed up at the perfect time because we were basically tearing down when they showed up. And I think just like the person whose house it was just came, and it was just a noise complaint. So just like, oh yeah, we're done. We'll
Yeah.
keep it down.
Well, if there's no more best experiences, we'll move on to the next section.
Yeah. I don't
Yeah.
know.
I mean the whole tour thing was also fun, just to be in like a different city and like hanging out. Like that part of it was special. I don't know if like the shows were necessarily our like greatest work or anything, but that was another just kind of fun experience.
There was a venue we played at called Oakland Secret. I really liked that venue. It was really
Yeah.
cool. It was just like kind of an abandoned house that was repurposed to be
Oh,
a concert venue. And they put a little stage in there, and like I think the venue owners lived in the house.
sounds cool.
Yeah, there's also like a cool backyard
Yeah, there was.
that we were hanging out in like before the show. Like I don't know, it's just really nice. There's like a little garden there.
Cool.
That's all I gotta say. It
Yeah.
was just nice.
The show was pretty good too, but it was an interesting venue.
Getting to be on tour and going to different cities, though, it has to feel like you're actually starting to make it, or you have made it.
Mm.
Not the way we do.
You were wrapping up. When you see the first venue and you realize that it's just another small room like the small rooms you were playing back home, just with a few different people.
Yeah, but I mean, like, also, like, there's the whole thing. Like, we put all the stuff in James's dad's car because we figured that it was the biggest, and like, we figured it would be the safest.
Mm.
And then the fact that we were just like sleeping in the car when we were up there, like, it was it was a fun experience to like hang out with friends and to play music. I don't know if it necessarily gave me like the best feeling that we were like a success or anything.
But it was a hopeful drive up.
It was, yeah, it was a fun drive. It was a fun time. It was worth it, even if we did it like probably the cheapest possible way.
Sure, you have the memories anyway and the experiences. It's all part of it.
Exactly.
definitely.
So we'll at this stage I usually get slightly more personal, but I think I'll focus on ye as a band instead of individually. So I normally ask what musician you'd like to quarantine with for 24 hours, but I think I'll ask what famous band you would like to go on tour with.
Ooh, that's a really good question.
It's a good question. I feel like I want to say we're all going to have differing answers, but last time we didn't have differing answers. Last time I said that.
Now, of
We
course,
didn't
they
have.
can be living or dead from the past or the present.
Oh,
Oh,
that makes it even tougher.
Sorry.
I mean, God, Green Day is like one of my all-time favorite bands. Or that was like, I was obsessed with them when I was starting to learn guitar and bass, and I think like we would complement each other, I guess.
Okay, okay.
Um, and that would be an amazing band to tour with for
Yeah,
sure.
I'd imagine it'd be pretty fun. Even the
Yeah,
backstage stuff and everything before and afterwards. They'd seem like to be really just great guys to hang out with.
yeah, definitely.
I'd say Foo Fighters as well. Yeah,
Mm.
those guys are awesome.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
yeah.
They'd
Dave Grohl, my
they'd be
dad.
one of my favorite bands now. Well, I'm not Dave Grohl would be one of my favorite musicians, I'll put it that way. But
Yeah.
he actually seems like he still kind of parties hard afterwards. I
Yeah.
seen him play a gig in 2019 in Ireland, and I think he was half pissed on the stage or half something on the stage anyway. But he was having so much fun, and I could only imagine what he got up to backstage afterwards. We the place he was playing, there's a curfew, so I think it's 10:30, 11, because it's in a kind of suburban area. And his road manager came out on stage and started tapping his wrist, telling him to stop playing. You know that he had 5 minutes left, and he was like, "You know what, man? I'll write a check right now. I'm playing for as long as I fucking want. I'm Dave Grohl. These guys are having a good time, and so am I." So yeah, yeah, he just seems like a really fun guy.
Yeah. He does also always kind of seem like he's on something, at least when he's
Yeah, he
But
does.
I feel like that's the interesting thing, man. Cause like you hear him like talk and stuff, and like you see him as like a celebrity personality, and like he he doesn't seem like that. I feel like he seems like pretty clear and like well thought out. Like it's just when he's playing that he seems like a madman.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, he's actually kind of like polar opposites.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was gonna say, I think it's a similar thing. Last time we saw them, it was in a like urban area, or they're kind of near a neighborhood. So he had a curfew and they just blew past it. They were like an hour over.
It's it's kind of sucks though when there is a curfew. You know, you should be just allowed to play for as long as you want. If you want to play for 5 hours, play for 5 hours if you
Right.
can.
Yeah.
From sunset to sunrise.
From
I challenge any bands to do that.
That would be very interesting.
That's how you do a live stream concert, man.
Oh yeah, man. Oh, we're just getting ideas here, because like I'm not even joking here. I would I'd
You
do
know,
it.
Jeff Siobhan show.
I don't know how interesting it would be, because I'm sure at like 4 a.m, like when you're tired as shit, like, I'd probably just like lay down on the floor and just strum my guitar. But I'd give it a shot, man.
Yeah.
It'd be one way to get your name in the Guinness Book of Records anyway.
Yeah, I wonder if the like live stream would count as that,
As your
as a concert.
yeah. I can just see myself getting tucked into this and actually I'm terrified.
I'll have to keep an eye out for when you're doing it. I'll definitely be tuning in.
For a night-long live stream.
Yeah, we'll see how long it takes to talk you guys into it.
Kind of about it already.
Yeah, no, James, I'm sure would be into that. I'm not so sure.
Well, I feel like the live stream is like the best way to do it
Yeah.
because, like, you know, then you're in like the comfort of your room. It can get like way weirder, like when you start getting tired.
Right.
I remember I don't think I've done it recently, but when we first started playing and you would do an acoustic song that didn't have any drums, I'd pull out a pillow and lie down on stage.
Yeah, man, we can trade off. Like I'll do an
I'll take a
acoustic
nap.
song and then you just do like a 30-minute drum solo and I'll take a nap.
Wait, what was the venue where I think there was an acoustic song happening, and so Aidan and I sat down on somewhere on the stage together, and then whoever was controlling, like, there were smoke machines.
Oh yeah, that was Amplify, wasn't it?
I think it was at Amplify. Someone like turned on a smoke machine, and it happened to be like put smoke right in our faces, and we like.
Oh.
I don't remember what happened. I think we just started coughing.
I think we were trying not to cough and interrupt the song.
Oh, that must have been really tough. I hate,
Yeah.
you know, I hate when you get that urge to cough and you're doing everything to try not to. But
Makes it
if you're
worse.
singing, then I can't imagine how you'd get through the song.
Yeah. Luckily we weren't singing. I don't know if
No, I was fine. I was out of the range of the smoke machine. I like lay my face right down next to it.
Yeah. Always check for a smoke machine when you're laying down on stage is the moral of that story.
So the next question then, if you could see any band living or dead in concert, who would it be?
Ooh.
Yeah, the living or dead makes it tough. I'm just gonna go out and say a band that I'd really like to see that I haven't seen yet is The Strokes.
Right.
And I feel like I've been trying for years to like get tickets, and for whatever reason, like they haven't been on tour or whatever. So that's gonna be my answer. I'm gonna go with The Strokes.
Good one. Good one.
I think seeing like the Beatles play as the Beatles,
Oh
Like,
man, that's the ultimate.
that's the dream, right?
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Ooh.
Now, would you have liked to seen their I think 64 Chicago Stadium show or the rooftop show?
Well, I think was the Chicago Stadium, was that when the crowd was screaming so loud they couldn't hear themselves play?
Yeah, yeah.
I think that would be interesting, but probably the rooftop show, which was like, the kind of the death of the Beatles.
Yeah, it was. It was. It was when they couldn't stand each other, and I'm surprised they even managed to get on the same rooftop with each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That must be awesome to see.
I once heard an interesting story about the Beatles, actually, about the time when they were all not getting on. It was near the end of them being a band, and Paul McCartney used to, so they couldn't stand being in the same recording studio with each other. So Paul McCartney used to go in secretly and record every other instrument. And then when the guys would come in, they'd be like, "Yeah, your part's already recorded." It's kind of a big fuck you, like.
It's smart if you're just trying to hold the band together.
Yeah, yeah. And James, what about you?
Ooh. Yeah. God, there's a million. It'd be great to see like one of Miles Davis's quintets live.
Yeah, actually.
Oh my god. Yeah. Either of his like great 5-piece combos. He played with like John Coltrane, and then later he played with Herbie Hancock. Either of those would be amazing to see live. That would be really, really cool. I regret that I didn't get to see Chick Corea play live. He's one of my favorite jazz guys.
Really?
Yeah.
I haven't actually heard of him before now.
Oh, he's amazing. He's did a lot of cool like jazz fusion stuff,
Yeah.
and he passed away recently.
Oh.
So that's kind of why I mentioned it.
Hmm.
Um, but I guess a living band I'd love to see live is Delta Sleep. They're like from the UK. They're kind of a little math rocky,
Hmm.
but they also kind of have a little bit of a similar sound, I'd say, to us.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd love to see them. They're still around, so that can happen.
There's hope. There's hope after COVID.
Yeah.
Another individual question then. What song would you pick to appear on the soundtrack to your lives? It's another tough one. It's probably the toughest one out of the whole interview.
Yeah, I can think of a couple. I think I've been been listening to some like mid 2000s alternative hits lately, and I think "Float On" by Modest Mouse is a good one.
Yeah.
It's a
Be a
good
light.
one.
There's an Alkaline Trio song called "Nose Over Tail" that also has just like kind of starting your day energy to it. Like you get you moving. So I'd say those.
I mean, I can listen to like Mr. Brightside on repeat for like ever.
Really?
I think it's kind of like a perfect song. Like the guitar riff, just like the right balance of like kind of like tragedy and like wide-eyedness. I don't know. I just love it.
It's a good choice. Good choice.
Yeah, that or another one of my favorite songs is Blink 182's Estenia. It starts like a really cool, like kind of space intro. And I just really like the way all the parts kind of fit together in that song. Like in trying to learn it, like it really doesn't sound right unless all the like guitar, bass, it's just guitar, bass, and drums, really. But like it's interesting that it's like crafted in such a way that like it doesn't sound right without like any one piece of it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
Cool choice, cool choice. And James, what about you?
Um, ooh, yeah, it's a great question. I've this past week I've been listening to a ton of Theo Katzman's music, his solo work,
Yeah.
and there's one song that he has called "The Death of Us" that I feel like if there was literally like a movie about my life for some reason, that would be a great song to just be on the soundtrack. I feel like it would fit the vibe very well.
Cool,
Um,
cool.
it's nice, groovy, very groovy song. I feel like I could listen to it for forever and like not really mind.
Not bad, not bad. All good choices. Just thought of another question off the top of my head. If someone had never heard your band before and you could only play one song for them that would let them know what the band is all about, what would it be?
I think actually the song that played at the start of this podcast, "Perfect on Paper," is like the best version of Fears as a band. Like it's energetic, it's angry, it's sad, down to the lyrics. And it's short and it leaves them wanting more. It's just like a burst of energy, and then they go about their way and they do whatever they want with that. With that.
It's perfect. One thing you said there that I think is very important. Always, in everything, always leave them wanting more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a reason we only played a 2-hour set once, and now most of our sets are half hour.
Although we could revert back or do our like we were talking, like do a 6 or
long
like 8-hour sets.
It'd be interesting to see now after 6 or 8 hours if they'd still want more. I'm sure they probably would, but they might need some sleep first.
That's a good point. I'm sure there's like some point at the night that they're just like like whatever the viewership is just drops to zero.
Well, that's the point where you start questioning is like, should
Yeah.
you keep going
Do you
just
do
to
you
do
go
it all
on?
night?
Will anyone join, or do you just do it to power through it?
Like, I'm sure some of the biggest bands in the world now, if they were to play for 8 hours, there'd be points when nobody would be tuning in, you know?
Yeah.
Gosh, sorry. I think I would also say Perfect on Paper. I was thinking that like before you said it, Aiden. I think it's a really good representation of just what you get with our band. And
Mm.
yeah, I think it's something where I think it's a very good introduction, and it would make people like curious to see what else there is.
Yeah, I might have to agree with you guys. Like there might be like other songs that I like might like more. Like I might like Drink the Nicotine a little better. But as far as like an introduction goes, I think Perfect on Paper is good because it's short. It's not quite as dark as We Can Go. So like, it's like a good kind of like little teaser taste of what
Yeah.
we have to offer. And if you want to dive in more, it's not going to scare people off. But if you're into it, there's more to be had.
We didn't start the album with that song, did we?
No.
We should have.
I
I think it's Burning Away starts it, right?
Yeah, but Burn Away is a pretty good
It's a
opener.
good opener.
James, your face.
That's the problem, right? Is you can always make things better in hindsight.
Yeah, although it's hard to say because like I agree with you that it's like a good it would be a good opener, but at the same time I go back and I listen to the album and like I'm pretty happy with the way it flows and it moves. And like whenever I go and put it on, I usually end up listening to most of it just because I end up enjoying it, even though sometimes I don't even intend to.
Mm.
Oh yeah.
So yes, it could have been maybe a better opener, but I'm pretty happy with the tracking order that we ended up with.
Yeah. And this makes me want to listen to the album.
I think it's really interesting that you all automatically settled on the one song for people to listen to. I think it shows how tight you are as a band. I was actually expecting at least two different opinions, but it's interesting that you all came to the same conclusion of which song to play.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool.
Good. But so what's next on the cards for you guys? I know it's probably a good bit off now with things that are going on, but
well, just over quarantine, it's trying to do a lot of promotion and doing podcasts like this. And,
doing what we can.
Writing songs.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to write new stuff. It's interesting and difficult, like where we are right now with the pandemic and how myself and I feel like a lot of the people at large are kind of over that phase of like, trying to, we're going to use this time to be as productive as possible. And it's kind of like sunk into more of like a depression thing. Like it's just never going to end.
Yeah.
Like just kind of laying there. So, I mean, I'm trying to write new songs for the bands, but at the same time, it's kind of hard to overcome that pandemic inertia sometimes.
It is when it seems like it's never going to end.
Yeah.
Yeah, like when it feels like you're never going to get to play a live show again, and even like be able to like record in like the same studio again, because we did one recording over the pandemic for a like charity compilation album. James actually I think put it together. It was to raise money for the ACLU, but we basically just recorded that, like passing files back and forth, and it's definitely a more fun experience to be able to be in the same room together and make music.
Oh yeah, of course, I can imagine. It wouldn't be the same vibe of being on your own recording and then sending a file, and you need to be in person to bounce off each other as well.
Yeah, you do. There's a lot gets lost in translation when you're just sending text messages and files back and forth.
Yeah. Well, also it's also more efficient too when you're there together because like
Yeah.
if something's not working, you can just change it super quick instead of going back and forth for weeks on end.
Yeah. So I'm sure as soon as you can, you'll be arranging tours and live performances.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely hope so. I don't know, we're low. Maybe we could get some hamster balls.
Yeah, it's an idea. Or you could do
Or,
like a drive-in live performance. Everyone come and stay in their cars.
we we joked about there was like an internet meme a while ago about like storming Area 51.
Oh yeah.
And like we were always joking about like getting a flatbed, like driving out there and like playing as they like run towards whatever the like fence or like border or whatever they have there.
That's a pretty good idea. It's very cinematic.
Living in Southern California is you're not that far from a desert, from just like open desert.
Yeah, from just like the middle of nowhere.
So we could get a bunch of people.
It's actually a good idea for your next music video.
Yeah. You don't have to pay for desert, do you?
No. It's difficult to find electricity in the desert.
That's true.
If you're in the middle of nowhere.
We just fake playing its music video.
True.
What about the cameras?
Make sure they're charged.
Yeah.
This brings us to the end of the interview. Unfortunately, I really enjoyed it. But before we go, would you like to introduce and tell us a bit about the song we're going to hear?
Yeah. Do you mind if we plug the album as well?
Yeah, of course.
So this, you wrote this song, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's it's L'appel Du Vide, streaming most places, spelled a dumb way. L'Appel.
That's the way it's spelled.
But
It's a
dumb.
French word.
But it's dumb that it's that.
It's the one that came up with the name.
I'm aware. I don't think I knew how it was spelled.
I did when I was uploading the album to ask you how it was spelled.
Song.
I need to hear the story behind this name. So,
name for the album a long time before we actually recorded it, like before we had all the songs.
But we had most of it written, and we knew like what the general vibe of it was at that point.
And we are not a band that's great at coming up with names.
I think it's a cool name.
It's
like
a cool name.
Admittedly, it's hard to spell and probably makes it difficult to find and search for it in Spotify.
Well, it's two things.
But I think it's cool.
It's that, and also if you just Google L'appel Du Vide, which are if you Google L'appel Du Vide, it comes up with like suicide prevention websites and stuff like that.
Right.
Which is not great.
Oh no.
Your first album, A Native Desert Palm, if you Google that, nothing else would really come up. You'd probably find the album. But anyway, L'Appel, L'appel Du Vide by Fears of Abandonment. Tell us about the song.
Yeah, it's called Drink the Nicotine. I wrote it. That is a fact right there. Yeah, I mean, it's like probably the most depressing song on the album.
Okay.
Like, I mean, not to... Wait, what, James?
It's energetic musically.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it definitely falls into that kind of like genre of like, I guess it's kind of like a pop punk, like emo thing of like having a upbeat song to like super depressing lyrics.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. It's basically just about like what Aidan said. Like if you search L'appel Du Vide, which is why I think it's a good name for it. Like it's kind of about like depression and like I feel like a lot of what we're going through quarantine, like sometimes not feeling like you're able to like really connect with people.
Yeah.
And like, you know, sometimes feeling like you're not good enough at what you do and just kind of like really kind of like embracing and like clinging to that feeling is kind of what the song's about. So not to end it on a bummer note or anything.
But listen to the song, you know.
There's a you reminded me of a question I was wanting to ask at the start. How did you come up for the name of the band?
Mm.
That was a process.
Yeah. I mean, we were bouncing names off of each other for like a good week. The problem is like every time you come up with like a cool band name is you'll like Google it and then find out that someone else is already using it.
Yeah.
Uh, so we had like, yeah, we were like bouncing names off each other for like a week and doing that. And they kept coming up as like actual bands. And I don't know. The kind of criteria I was looking for in a band name was like, could I see this at the top of a festival, like
Lineup.
and yeah, lineup. those are the words I'm looking for. And just I thought Fears of Abandonment had a nice ring to it. Like in my mind, I could totally see it at the top of the marquee. And I looked it up and there wasn't anything there. And you know, we got depressing lyrics sometimes, so I think it kind of fits. Yeah, that's pretty much where it came from.
I think it's a great name though, and it's like when you see the name, I think you know what to expect. You know the exact type of music you're going to expect, and it really fits well.
Yeah, thanks.
That's good to hear. That makes it better about
Yeah.
about
Especially since we seem to choose things that are like difficult to spell. Because we've actually had it misspelled before.
Yeah. We've had on playing shows up on marquees or stuff. It's been Fears of Abandonment.
Yeah. So maybe
Right.
that should be what we do for our next album is, you know, try to make something that's easy for people to search for.
I thought you meant name it Fears of Abandonment by Fears of Abandonment.
Oh, that's good.
That would be kind of cool.
We do
Yeah.
2 albums. We have one that's Fears of Abandonment, and then it's just a self-titled album.
Oh.
I'll confuse the hell out of people.
Every album keep adding an into it, so
Just
eventually
have
Fears of Abandonment.
every album be a misspelled variation of the
Yeah,
band.
that's a very good marketing idea. Uh, right, so the album is available on all streaming services right now, is it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Perfect. Right, guys. Well, this has definitely been one of the funnest interviews I've done. I've really enjoyed it. Thanks a million for coming on.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun talking to you.
Yeah. Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
You too. And all the best for the future and everything post-COVID.
You too.
Yeah, same to you.
Thanks. I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah.
Take it easy.
All right. Take care.
All that I want is to connect with you, but you don't care, so this is bound to fall apart. Across the hall, there is a tube, marked skull and cross to end it all. My soul's been bleeding out, but it's something I won't talk about. So should I drink the nicotine and go into a never-ending sleep? It's something I deserve. Such a mystery, the beauty all around me that I see can't keep me on this earth. Drink the nicotine. Drink the nicotine. Drink the nicotine. Drink the nicotine. Pour acid down my face, 'cause I'm a horrible disgrace. Leave my body in the gutter where it slowly will decay. I don't know what the fuck to do when I feel this way. Will the future turn out better or simply remain the same? I can't
Well, I certainly hope you enjoyed that episode. I sure had a lot of fun recording it with the guys. If you did enjoy it, why not rate and review us on iTunes? It really helps the show grow. And make sure to find us and follow us on social media. Just search for Concerts That Made Us. My guest next week is the amazing Eliza Hava. I'm really looking forward to this episode. So make sure you check out her music and be prepared for next week's episode. Until then, keep rocking.
Hey, what are you guys still doing here? The show's over. It's over. You can go home. Go on. We'll see you next time. We'll be here. Bye.